Welcome everybody. My name is Ishai. I am responsible for the service lifecycle management products at Siemens Digital Industry Software. And I'm happy to have with me today here Mark Schmidt from Salesforce.
Going here.
There's, okay,
Hello.
presentation is not showing up.
I just, excuse me.
We don't know who we are without the slides.
Yeah.
Help us.
So I'm happy to have Mark Schmidt here from Salesforce with me. Mark is a senior director for manufacturing and automotive product strategy and solutions.
Yes.
Great having you, Mark.
Thanks,
And our own Thorsten Beste, Global Vice President for Intelligent Service and Asset Lifecycle Management at Siemens Digital Industry Software.
Thank you for coming.
And today we'll talk about the topic of servitization and the partnership that Siemens and Salesforce has established around that topic. So servitization is basically the transition of manufacturers, and research data shows that over 75% of the manufacturers are either implementing or think about implementing the servitization business transformation, which means moving from manufacturing and selling products into selling a bundle of manufacturing products and service solutions. Thorsten, you've been speaking about this topic at the Hannover Messe just recently. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, thank you, Ishai, for the question. Yeah, so I was a couple of weeks ago. I was at the Hannover for the world's largest industrial fair, and I was there on stage with our customer Koenig and Bauer and with Salesforce, really talking about our partnership and servitization. And Koenig and Bauer is one of the world's largest printing machine manufacturers. So a fun fact about Koenig and Bauer: 90% of all the banknotes in the world are printed on their machines. So their product is right basically with you in your wallet right now, in your purse. So, and they have highly complex printing machines with 10,000, 100,000 of parts. Their machines cost 15 million, up to 15 million euros, and lots of highly configured. And so they're in a transformational journey right now. Like Jishai said, they're going away from this product sales more into an outcome-based business, and how they can provide new services, also digital services to their customers. Yeah, and they see this partnership between Salesforce and Siemens is really supporting their strategy, really moving towards one outcome-based business, providing new digital services, and making sure they can provide more uptime to their customer, better services. The service technicians are out there, but also connecting this into one digital thread, really from engineering towards service execution with the feedback loop. And Siemens and Salesforce are for them strategic partners to do that. So that was a great testimonial to see how this helps a customer to achieve this. And I will share some more customer examples a little bit later.
Hey Mark, do you also hear this from your customers using Salesforce?
Absolutely. I mean, that's one of the big key trends in the manufacturing automotive space, is trying to drive more sustainable revenue streams, and service is absolutely the way to do that. I mean, Koenig & Bauer is actually a really interesting example. They've been a Salesforce customer for a long time. They're using it. They've been using us for field service. And one thing they've been doing is doing virtual service. They've also been very transparent with their data back to their customers. So the data coming from their printing machines, actually providing that as a service back to their customers about what's the performance, not only of that machine, but how are your printers performing relative to your cohort of other use cases that are similar to yours, so that customers understand, oh, hey, maybe I could optimize this machine. And of course, that then flows back through Koenig & Bauer or their partners to drive more services, to go and do that upsell, cross-sell of what they're doing there. So in this space, I mean, there's two ways to look at it. One is the inside out. That is, how do I build this more sustainable revenue stream? For example, maybe an HVAC company is looking to turn into provide temperature as a service, right? Or looking for outcome-based models. That is, if it's an HVAC, but it's a transportation HVAC company, how do we make sure the goods get to the final destination in fresh order? And providing that then as what's in the contract, as opposed to just the parts and materials that would typically be sold or the asset. But the other way to look at it, that is the outside in, that is from companies working with manufacturers, being easy to do business with is critical. So it's not only providing service and being more predictive and proactive on service, it also means if a customer comes back to a manufacturer like a Koenig-Bauer or an HVAC company and says, hey, I need a new system, but it needs this different configuration, how quickly can they generate a quote to say, well, this is what it's going to look like for you to do that, whether it's subscription or the asset. So having this meld of data between what you do with Siemens and the PLM and the Salesforce side, it's no longer just, I would say, a nice to have. In the future, I think that's absolutely going to be critical to make sure these highly engineered parts, you can quickly quote them and predict the service and then convert that into bundles or subscriptions.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. That's fascinating. Another topic that is on high priority with our customers is the topic of sustainability. Maybe Thorsten, you can tell us how sustainability fit into the servitization topic.
Yes, this is another, sustainability is on everybody's mind right now. You have seen it in the keynote this morning, also from Bayersdorf. Everybody is talking about sustainability. Your company has to report to this also to their shareholders, to the market. But what we're doing here together is servitization. It's really also in the core of sustainability. Think about how can you extend the life cycle of a machine, of an equipment out there. Instead of after 10 years you have to replace it, or even 3 years. How can you extend the life cycle of this? You can provide upgrades to your, suggest upgrades to your customers. Or another great example is how can you reduce energy consumption? And maybe you have an older, your customer has an older pump, an older drive in there, maybe 10, 20 years old, consumes tons of energy, an old compressor. You can proactively approach your customer and then suggest an upgrade. Hey, we have a new compressor here, we have a new drive here, energy consumption is 20% less, so we can reduce this. So we can proactively go then and reduce their carbon footprint and circular economy. So there are tons of examples where servitization really supports sustainability.
Thank you, Thorsten. And Mark, how about the workforce?
Yeah, the workforce challenge, I think most of us are well aware, right? The aging workforce, right? In many companies, for many manufacturing companies, it's not easy always to attract people into the manufacturing sector. And even if they do, people tend to stay with companies for less time. So what's happening is, of course, a lot of that institutional knowledge that people build up over longer careers is now retiring out. So extracting that knowledge out of their heads before they leave is great, if you can start to capture that kind of unstructured data, but then of course you need to make it more useful for others as well. And that's really where AI comes into play to help out quite a bit there. We'll talk a little bit more about that, I think, a bit later, but one quick example in that space, to overcome the workforce challenge, there was a large dealership group for Volvo trucks that is using Salesforce, and they were using it to do service. And they were finding when customers were calling in, it was taking over 18 minutes for them to find the right configuration and material data so they could quickly address the challenge that was coming into that service desk. And by using AI, and I think I heard about in the keynote today, this RAG-based model, which is the retrieval augmented generation, where using unstructured data against the vector database to augment the AI, they drove that search and find challenge to find what was that particular configuration for this truck, what part, what do I need to know about that, from over 18 minutes down to less than 30 seconds.
Wow.
Right, so again, this is the ability to take people who might not have that institutional knowledge, know exactly where I need to look and ask exactly the right questions to prompt them to say, what are the right questions to ask, and more quickly put them in touch with the right information to answer information. So yes, workforce is a challenge, but again, this is where the ramp up of AI is going to help with that. But it does mean, of course, getting data together and working together.
Yeah, exactly.
So we start to see the dots connecting together with the new technologies and other enablers. So, but in today's reality, things still go wrong. We are not there yet, right? It's a vision. We want to go there. We are not there yet. So what potentially could go wrong, Mark, if you can give a few examples of what to, in today's world, what could go wrong?
Yeah, so I mean, going back to the HVAC example, if you are selling a service, a contract, so I think there's a couple of things that are converging here. One is, right, there's the workforce challenge we talked about, there's products getting more technical and complex. And at the same time, there's these, more tighter SLAs. So if you do start selling on service, a big part of that is the SLA, the expectation you're selling to the customers. And if you don't meet that expectation, then there are financial ramifications for that. So if part of a service contract is a certain amount of uptime or maintaining a certain temperature, when that field service engineer goes out to do the maintenance or repair, if they don't have the right part, that's not just oh, oops, well, we could be back tomorrow, right? You need to expedite that, you need to get that there. So that means, the right part needs to be on the vans for your service techs. That means being able to, first of all, know what's there. And that means the S-bomb, right? It's not only M-bomb you need, but it's also the service bill of material you need to know, hey, well, I went out there, all I knew was it was this particular unit, and normally there's this kind of heating coil that's in there. Well, actually that heating coil doesn't work anymore because we've upgraded, right, the capacitor behind the scenes. So therefore, right, we actually need a different heating coil. But if we didn't know that particular S-bomb data, I'm not there with the right information. I mean, this is a very specific example, but I think many people can extrapolate that to their own business of knowing, again, bringing all that data together from what's happening directly with the customer, back to the engineering, back to your bill of material.
Exactly, yes. And I've also been to customers, and just to add a little bit what Mark said here, so that was in the heavy equipment industry, a customer sending the wrong spare parts to the dealerships. And they sent the wrong spare parts to the dealerships 3-4 times. So the UPS driver turned up there. You're smiling, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Because why is this? They don't have the insights of what's the configuration of the equipment out there. Maybe there's this life cycle, but they don't have these insights out there. And they're making these wrong decisions, which has a direct impact on their financial bottom line, inventory cost and things like that, customer satisfaction. And then another example, also a couple of weeks ago, I spoke to a company they're making solar panels, also for industrial, the whole stuff around this also. And they have 7 different field service management applications out there. 7. So you can imagine what kind of effort they have to put in place to make sure every of this application has the right information, the service technicians have the right information out there. It's not working really. And then spoke to them jointly with Salesforce, and they loved this. Hey, how we can unify this now, we can streamline our digital processes here, our businesses processes, and all our overhead goes away there. And also how they make their customer happy in the future. So it's what we see here on this slide, it's reality still today, but let's take a look at how we can help you here a little bit more.
Yeah, so that actually leads us to the Siemens and Salesforce partnership, right? So Siemens and Salesforce partnered and kind of combined 2 different processes and disciplines together in order to provide a connected digital thread that goes end-to-end with a solution, right? So Torsten, what is your perspective on the partnership and what it brings over?
First of all, it's all about the customer, our customers here. And the feedback we get from our customers is amazing. Wherever Salesforce is the #1 CRM platform, and then also with Siemens, with Teamcenter, the #1 PLM system coming together to the customer, they love this story because it's very complementary what we're doing here. So it's the customer 360 with Salesforce, where you all have your customer insights, customer history, also what you're going to sell them in the future. Everything is in Salesforce. And then in Teamcenter, in our accelerator platform, you have basically all the PLM, all the product 360 information here. Right from the idea to the retirement of the product, to the entire life cycle here. And there are natural connection points here. What you see here on this slide is, first of all, on the sales side. Think about, you want to sell a new machine, a new equipment to a customer. It needs to be configured. You have the product configuration, also IP in Teamcenter, and then connect this with the sales process, with the quotation process. Think about the power of that. You saw the metaverse this morning show this in visualization in your quote to the customer immediately with the configuration, with all the services, SLAs around this. Amazing opportunities here, no? From two proven platforms. And then on the operational side, where we show a little bit more, it's about how we can connect here the service operation, service engineering, with service execution, with the feedback loop auto. So there's a natural complementary connection between our companies, and the customers see that also.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Mark, from the manufacturing perspective, how do you see that?
Yeah, I mean, exactly like Torsten said. So, I mean, first of all, to mention that the partnership here is much more than just a handshake or, you know, a few news releases. That there's actual product behind this. You'll see a bit later. But behind the product and behind just the UI and what people see, there's a definition of, you know, what data sits where, how this data moves between Siemens, between Salesforce. What we're doing on the Salesforce side with our manufacturing cloud, our automotive cloud, which are industry solutions that kind of add a lot of extra layer on top of our standard sales and service functionality. We have the place for the data to come, right? We have these the enhanced data model that can capture bill of material information that could be coming over from Siemens. And the way we see it is, and I know on the slide, right, it's the traditional you're selling, right, that then becomes an asset, but that data from Siemens can also be used to drive marketing, right? So, for example, where you're driving marketing maybe from the Salesforce side, you're running, you know, you want to do a segmentation to drive a campaign, I might want to use the PLM information for that because maybe new product introduction is coming up. Or we've identified the root cause of a challenge, right, with data maybe coming from Salesforce for warranty claims that come in through Salesforce. That warranty claim data goes into Siemens to do the root cause analysis. The engineering fix is done. Now we need to do outreach to understand, contact all those customers. So exactly the blend of this data going back and forth from sales to service. And a great example, Torsten, you mentioned, right, the quoting configuration. Even if you're doing the quoting, the configuration, the front end might be Salesforce, you need to know what the limitations are, what the requirements are, and that is data that's going to be defined on the PLM side. Yeah. So it's very, I mean, I see this hugely synergistic. One quick point I would make on that is, you know, you see the asset there. Another important point is, for many customers, they don't just have one asset, right? I mean, they're buying one product, but they have a site, they have a location. So what they might track in Salesforce is the site, location, or fleet data, if they're talking about vehicles. And you might want to use all that data to drive some next-gen processes. That is, turn that single asset service into a site management service, for example. So a lot of potential there for this data coming together. And the examples I give, by the way, are those we're talking with the customers about actively or actually being deployed.
Yeah. So, as Torsten and Mark mentioned earlier, what we have already today is way beyond the PowerPoint or marketing slogans. We actually have a product. We have a product that helps you in achieving this servitization goal. This is an app that is available today at the Salesforce App Exchange, and is called Teamcenter SLM for CRM, and basically connects those two siloed worlds that used to be disconnected with all the, you know, the side effects that we've talked about earlier. Torsten, what do our customers say about this app so far?
They are very excited about this because it really connects two proven solutions, Salesforce for CRM and Teamcenter, but now with an out-of-the-box integration, what really helps them build this digital thread really from product ideation, product engineering, service engineering, manufacturing engineering, and also with the whole sales cycle, customer support, service support here. It's really an integrated digital thread provided with an application developed by Siemens and Salesforce. No? And for many of our customers, the Teamcenter and CRM are their strategic platforms. Of course, we also need to talk about the ERP integration here. What is also, we have integrations for that, but overall they love this story that we're bringing the product inside the product 360 together with the customer 360 information, really to help them in their servitization journey. And this is also, it's an increment. They're doing this in incremental steps. It's also, it's a business transformation, a digital transformation, but we working together with them, helping in their working together with them in their journey towards this end goal, towards this outcome-based business. Now it's always when I go to the customer, it's a great experience. I come in we receive with open arms, and then we say, hey, what's next? What's next? What's next? So it's a exciting topic, really, to talk to customers about
Yeah,
this.
that's really exciting.
Yeah.
And Mark, you were talking earlier about AI.
Yeah.
Could you elaborate a bit about the role it could play in this joint solution that we are talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. So, so think about this digital thread. And I mean, just prior to this presentation, we heard from Volta Trucks earlier, who's already doing, look at 2 core platforms, Siemens and Salesforce. And, so the digital thread, one example could be, again, on the warranty side, so doing things like claim prediction. So you're getting a claim coming in from a dealership or a customer for any kind of product, knowing the detail about previous claims, but also looking at the engineering side and understanding what are the different parameters to check for that to be able to do quick claim prediction. But of course, these days, it's all about the generative AI side. So the example I gave before about using unstructured data, getting the knowledge data, getting the tech sheets out of Teamcenter, so that's in a database that could be quickly searched, quickly indexed, retrieved, and used to generate more AI. That's absolutely what's happening, right? We already have customers that are doing this today, right? Starting to pull this information together. This partnership is only going to accelerate that. And from the Salesforce side, quickly, the important part about AI, because I know it's kind of going through its hype cycle right now. I think it's on bit of the downward part of the hype curve. That said, I think long term, this is absolutely, we all know this is going to be changing things fundamentally. And the important part of though, especially for many engineering businesses, all of you sitting in very competitive spaces or highly regulated spaces, being able to trust that data is absolutely critical, right? And I think what we build from a Salesforce side, we look at this kind of this trust circle that what is your data stays your data, but you still want to leverage those extra models outside, just like you talked about your keynote today. So this is a big part of, again, aligning from a data standpoint and functionality, but then being able to leverage that for these key use cases.
Just to add what Mark said, I don't know if you have seen it last year. Siemens Energy presented also at Realize Live, and so they also use Teamcenter, they use Salesforce, but it's really for Siemens Energy. So they're manufacturing gas turbines. They also have to service them. So basically, selling just the gas turbines, maybe it's kind of break even, but the monetization of this comes through services. So services, outcome-based business in the future. So for them, it's really about how to monetize now their services business. And what they shared last year was kind of, it takes them 6 to 8 weeks still to create a services quote. Because the fragmented data sources here. And really their objective is here, integrating Teamcenter, so our accelerator portfolio with Salesforce, is do that on a button click. Not go into all these different applications, pull this data together, create the service quote on a button click, reducing it from 6 to 8 weeks down to 0, basically. Another objective for them is also reducing material master, because you can imagine you have duplicated parts there, you have similar products, and then you have different material masters, and you can imagine the cost of this. So in terms of, you have a bill of material, duplicated parts there, what does it mean also for service execution? So you have similar parts, maybe the service technician needs to be trained again on that part, and also another product, there's a similar process. You can simplify things, or think about the cost of inventory. You can reduce your inventory costs also significantly on this. So just building this integration, so customers, they see really huge levers on how to monetize this.
And you mentioned I'll just wrap by saying, the quoting piece is a big one, absolutely. So it's not only building quote from a complex, maybe make to order, engineer to order product that could happen here. It's also using all the previous pricing data that's been used, to generate price, whether it's physical parts or service parts, entitlements, warranties. You want to bundle in service contracts, but it's also the outcome data. That is, we did these bids before. Did we win those bids or not? So, the AI serves a purpose here, which is not only knowing, okay, here's all the tech sheets and here's all the pricing information we have about all the parts, how it comes together. It's also knowing, wait a second, we won these previous opportunities when we did this kind of pricing model where we lowered the price of the asset, increased the price of service. Maybe that should be the trend going forward. So it's actually learning from itself that's absolutely critical here. And I think now we have a little bit of time to show...
As a service agent, you receive a call from your customer to inform you of a pressure drop in a quality
Maybe, and they can let us know if you're hearing audio when this video is
you need to
playing.
go one back. You need to go one slide, and then the video. Now go back. Yeah.
As a service agent, you receive a call from your customer to inform you of a pressure drop in a quality test machine. You then create a case for this issue in Salesforce. You search in Salesforce Knowledge for the probable root cause of the issue. Salesforce Knowledge has been populated with your customer's proprietary product information, which is managed in Teamcenter. Leveraging Einstein GPT, you're presented with a summary of information related to your search. Now you have the information you need to create a work order to replace the faulty part. The related work plan is created automatically using the work plan selection rules in Salesforce. This is based on Teamcenter service requirements. The assets and work plans in Salesforce are created leveraging product and service-related data, including detailed activities, authored and managed in Teamcenter with Service Lifecycle Management. The work order to replace the faulty part is now scheduled and assigned to a technician. And now from a technician's perspective, you have all the right configuration data on the asset in context to perform the job right the first time. By using your mobile app, you execute the work order by following steps that were authored in Teamcenter. And once the job is complete, you update the status, which is also tracked in Teamcenter. You identify an opportunity for service teams to generate additional service revenue, in this case with a service contract upgrade. This opportunity is sent directly to the sales department. The asset hierarchy is tracked in Salesforce and now shows the latest configuration. All updates and service history are also reflected in Teamcenter, supporting continuous product improvement.
Okay.
So you know all that's left is for you to now scan the barcode and really try it out. And you know, if you have any questions either now or later on, we are here to answer your questions. You can get in touch with us also later on, before and after, if you try that.
Yeah.
And if there are any questions right now, we are happy to take them and answer.
Absolutely.
So the app is available on the Salesforce App Exchange for download,
Absolutely.
but also on the Accelerator Marketplace. So ready to go.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Okay.
Thank you all for your time.
Thank you very much.